When it comes to playing games on a computer, one of the things most brought up is that you can mod your game to be whatever you want. And honestly, I can understand why. If Minecraft had an hour counter, I'd probably have over 6,000 hours put into it collectively. I currently have 500 in GTA 5, and the last I played Fallout 4, I didn't exactly pay for it. But if I had to estimate, I put about 30 hours into it before I got bored. The common denominator here is that all of these games are extremely customizable. You look up Minecraft mods, GTA 5 mods, or Fallout 4 mods, and you can find countless lists on websites dedicated to hosting them. So if you're a bit burnt out with a game, one of the easiest things you can do to add something to your experience to make it feel fresh again is installing a mod that enhances the graphics. These mods can cover a vast amount of possibilities, from something as simple as upscaling the textures to something as in-depth as upheaving the entire lighting engine to add things never thought possible for the game. Originally, I was going to transition to talking about Minecraft here first, because you'd think adding insane shit to it would be impossible, but I want to talk about Fallout 4 first, and it's my channel anyway, so. See, the whole idea with the Fallout series is that it's meant to look like shit. It's a world irradiated from the fallout of nuclear bombs detonated all across the earth. I wouldn't imagine it would look pretty. My personal issue with Fallout 4 style is that, well, it looks like shit. Again, I completely understand why it looks like this. I'm just not a fan. Adding a bit of green, improving the lighting. Honestly, this looks pretty good in the way that my eyes actually enjoy looking at what's on screen instead of, this. And I feel like there is an argument to be made here about distorting the message set up by the developers of the game. You're supposed to feel bad looking at the terrain of Fallout. It's a depressing wasteland caused by humanity's greed and unwillingness to cooperate with each other. At the same time, this isn't actually a real issue. Whoever is dedicated enough to take the time out of their day needed to set up Fallout 4 to be modded already understands the message portrayed in the game. They get it. They've obviously played the game already. There's no harm done in running around a wasteland that isn't an eyesore instead. On the opposite end of the spectrum, GTA 5 is a game that's meant to parody the extreme parts of American society. And as far as I know, the art style of the game has nothing to do with any sort of message. Not that it even matters anyway. I'm sick of staring at these models and these same streets and the same goddamn cars. I swear to God, I know my way around Los Santos better than I do my own town. Like, I can reasonably navigate to the airport from any place on the map. It's been 8 years since this game came out. If people want to add some insane texture, reshade, RTX, whatever it's called, pack to the game, why should I care? Honestly, most of these seem pretty sick. My biggest issue is that most of these packs think streets that are wet as fuck look really good. Like, it's unreasonably wet and shiny all of the time. The trade-off here is that I get to drive around Los Santos in an actual Lamborghini that has ray trace shadows and reflections. I can stare at roads that have 4K textures and look at a skybox that looks like a sky. I don't know, man. Listen, I feel completely out of my depth installing these mods. I've done it once, but it was kind of broke and didn't work correctly, and my caveman brain could never figure out why. I assume it's just because I don't have as much experience with it. Like, I have years of experience modding and playing Minecraft, and at this point, it's second nature. I know my way through these settings, and adding something as simple as a shader pack is as easy as a few clicks. Not that I really need to install more. I've collected so many shader packs at this point. The whole argument of the vision and art style being lost is brought up again here, and in some ways I kind of agree. Again, this issue is completely pointless. Like, do what you want with your install of Minecraft. I'm not gonna care about it. Personally, I'm just not really a fan of realistic texture packs, or like any texture packs at all. I like the look of default, so much so that I had a really tough time transitioning to the new default, and default isn't perfect. I use a sound pack to replace my sounds with the beta sounds, but in my opinion, it's much better than a pack that has a hyper-realistic cow texture pasted onto a square cow. I mean, even if you really wanted more detail on your Minecraft cow, wouldn't it just be better to get a cow that looks more default in its design? Shader packs are a completely different story for me. I fucking love these things. My favorite is tied between the Seus PTGI ray tracing pack and BSL. What a fucking mouthful, by the way. Obviously, I have like some issues. The really fluid, waving, clear looking water really contrasts with normal Minecraft blocks. Like, these just don't look correct next to each other. But with Seus PTGI especially, the water caustics, which are these light reflections in the water, look way too good for me to actually care. See, the actual biggest issue with shader packs is what it's like to actually play with these on. Like, yeah, it looks good, but this button essentially divides your FPS by 3. I mean, it's impressive that this shit even runs considering Minecraft was made in Java and can only effectively utilize a single core on your CPU. This gets compounded whenever you add a high resolution texture pack into the mix, and it turns your game from a smooth, buttery experience into a stuttery mess. And what's crazy is that this is the best it gets. This is the peak. I currently own the best consumer grade PC hardware on the market. The only thing that might help me here is a Threadripper, maybe. I try to look it up, but not many Threadripper owners are using Minecraft as a fucking benchmark like I am. But instead of admitting that Minecraft is a game that's crippled by being made in Java, I'm instead just going to pretend that modern hardware simply isn't good enough to run a block game. Your move, NVIDIA. Also, just because I know I'm gonna get a lot of comments about it, I've only talked about 3 games because they're the 3 games I have the most experience modding. GTA San Andreas does look crazy after modding the shit out of it. Yes, I've literally never played the game. Alright, that's all I have to say. Make sure to click the cards on screen if you're interested in watching another video, and I'd really appreciate it if you subscribed. I'm getting close to hitting 30,000 subs.